Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at the top 10 teams for the upcoming Psychic Cup, and yeah, we're gonna just start right into it. But before that, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Only 40% are actually subscribed to the channel who's watching the videos, especially for those it's even a little bit less people. So definitely, if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. Always helps out quite a bit as we can move on to the analysis. We're gonna take a look at the top meta here real quick. We're going to see that it's going to be a very small meta. You see a very big difference on the right side. You see the average rating, or like the number there, which is from rank 1, which is going to be Victini, which is not really the rank 1 Pokemon. To be fair, Bruxish is definitely the best Pokemon in this cup. Victini is still very strong. Going down very fast there to rank 14, which is 81. It usually stays around the 90s for the first 15 or something, but yeah, here right now goes very fast down, so not a lot of Pokemon that are really decent. Those Pokemon on the screen definitely are decent, while we have to say that both Medicham as well as Cresselia are a little bit difficult to play during this current cup, as both Psychic-type Pokemon have a little bit of a disadvantage against the other ones, which I think is actually pretty decent. But for the new and buffed Pokemon, there are actually only like a few Pokemon we really have to talk about. We see, for example, here that Gardevoir is getting Triple Axel, which is going to help it out a little bit. We're going to have Claydol getting the Scorching Sands, which is really nice. We have Girafarig getting Trailblaze, which doesn't even use during this cup, which I think you can still definitely choose, and I think it's better still than what currently has available. But for Girafarig, it's mainly going to do damage with Tackle plus Psychic Fangs anyway. And then we're going to have Lugia, which is now going to be worse, as Skytech needs one more fast move, and also, yeah, for example, Aerial Ace on Zato, but Zato is still very bad. So let's move on to the first team here. Right now, we're going to have an unconventional lead here right now for the first team, which is going to be the Alolan Raichu, actually having quite a decent amount of play during this cup, as you're going to see right now. It's going to be very decent against Victini, but also against the Water-type Pokemon, which actually, for whatever reason, P-Poke didn't put onto this list here. Bruxish is actually a very important Pokemon to take a look at, but at least here you do super effective damage against them as well, while they also do super effective damage against you, because Bruxish in this meta is running Bite instead of the Confusion or Water Gun, which you usually would run. So Bite as a fast move, definitely what you want to have for the Bruxish, which you can also use in the back here instead of the Malamar. And Sasops are a lot of time during those times, like the Victini as well as the Galarian Rapidash. Both of them are the best Sasops during this meta, but there are other ones as well. Next team coming up, going to be a basic meta line, which is basically, I think, the top 3 Pokemon together here right now, which is Victini, Rapidash, as well as Bruxish. Honestly, you can just put them in any kind of order and they should work out fairly well. You see right now, Victini is really good in the current meta, so as you can see, it's just very, very strong against nearly everything, so you can definitely play out a lot of lead matchups, and I would not be surprised if you're going to encounter quite a lot of Victinis as a lead here, especially with Quick Attack after the buff. It's very strong. V-Create just gonna get there very fast, and just a very dominating Pokemon here. Different Sasops of either Galarian Rapidash or the Malamar, which both of them are fine. And then in the back, we're going to have some fast move pressure with either the Bruxish or the Gardevoir. Gardevoir, also a very strong Pokemon, as you're going to see in the next one as well, which is going to be a team around Gardevoir as well as Claydol, which was actually kind of viable already last time where this cup was around, where you were using Claydol as a potential answer for something like a Victini, but also as a potential answer for something like a Bronzong, which is available during this cup as well. Bronzong, fairly decent Pokemon, which is running actually Feint Attack during this cup, which is a very interesting fast move, which is usually very bad, but in a Psychic Cup it's very strong, of course, as it's a Dark type move. But here, as you can see right now, this team looks really good on paper. Claydol basically covers the weaknesses of the Gardevoir. Gardevoir has a lot of winning matchups in the lead anyway, so very solid line. Definitely can recommend it to you as well. Team number 4, we're going to have the anti-Charm backline here right now, which you kind of need with the lead that you have, as the lead is very weak to Charm with Malamar. Malamar, very strong Pokemon in general, but very weak to like all the Fairy-type Pokemon in the meta. So we're going to have 2 answers for this in the back with the Victini as well as the Bronzong. Both of them resist Charm, and both of them are very good against the Charm users in this meta. So basically, team built around Malamar right now, which is a very strong and fast charging Pokemon for this meta. Malamar, very cool Pokemon here, of course. Being a part Dark typing in a Psychic Cup is very strong. By the way, if you miss, for example, the Mew in here, Mew is the only Pokemon that's banned which I wish like that they banned Bruxish or something like this as well for the meta, but right now Mew is the only Pokemon that's banned because it learns Shadow Claw, so that's why you don't see any teams with this Pokemon. As we can move on to team number 5, we're going to have a different Claydol team here, which is kinda similar though, with Rapidash in the lead. Bruxish is a Say-Swap, which is just a very solid Say-Swap in general, because there's nothing that can even resist Bite in this kind of meta. Plus you have Awkward Tail, plus you have Psychic Fangs to debuff the opponent. You would also have access to Crunch on the Bruxish, but usually you kinda want to go for Awkward Tail or Psychic Fangs, because Bite doesn't generate energy very fast, and Crunch just needs a little bit more than both of those moves, so right now, Awkward Tail plus Psychic Fangs and Bite as a fast move is the way to go. And again, Claydol has its standard moveset. Scorching Sands is the fastest move to get to. Shadow Ball is basically super effective against everything in the meta right now. So it's a very solid team here, as we can now move on to the next one, going to be the fastest team in order to basically win matches, because you're going to have insane fast move pressure with the Bruxish, as well as the Gardevoir in the back being able to just charm down opponents is going to be insane. This team itself going to most likely make your battle go only for like 1.5 minutes, either win or lose, of course, we never know, but it is a very solid line, especially as Bruxish as well as the Claydol are both very good against Victini. Your Say-Swap is going to be the Galarian Rapidash here, which is going to still be able to hit at least the neutral Body Slam or even Mega Horn or even high horsepower if you want to be a little bit spicy onto the Victini. So this is going to be very nice to just set up the Gardevoir for an endgame sweep, and this is basically how this team going to function anyway. So very strong Pokemon here as well, and just a very fast team. And coming from a fast team, we're of course gonna go to the slow team. It's not really that slow, but of course we have 2 slow Pokemon in here with Slowbro and Slowking, which are both in the Galarian form and both very decent. I'm actually not sure which is the better Say-Swap here. I actually maybe would even go for a Slowking as a Say-Swap, because Hex is always going to be neutral, at least, unless you're going to, or super effective of course, but unless you're going to encounter Girafarig, which I don't really expect to see too often. It's not that good in the meta right now. So it's a very safe Say-Swap, especially now as it got access to the move Surf. It's going to be very, very difficult to deal with for a lot of Pokemon, so very strong one here for sure. And then Galarian Slowbro is a back line there, going to be very good to clean up some games as well. So very cool here. And let's take a look at the team number 8. You see already we're rushing kind of through them because there's not a lot that we can really talk about them. A lot of times these similar Pokemon. I tried to build a team around Medicham here right now with the Galarian Slowking in the lead, the Victini as a Say-Swap and the Medicham in the back. But you see already on the right side, Medicham is very decent against anything that is a little bit like spicier, but against the core meta, it's actually really bad. So I actually would not really recommend you to go for Medicham and rather go for the Bruxish in the back, and you're still going to have a very good functioning team here that should work out super well. But in general, the Slowking is going to be a very strong Pokemon also in the lead. Definitely going to try to take a look at this Pokemon as well on my channel. Seems to be a very cool sleeper pick here right now, as we can now take a look at basically the only viable Dragon type Pokemon in this meta, which is going to be Shadow Latios. Having access to Dragon Breath, Dragon Claw as well as Luster Purge, going to give it a little bit of an advantage over the Latias, which has not access to Dragon Claw but only Outrage. So here we're going to have the Slowking again as a Say-Swap, very solid, and the Bronzong in the back. Basically both Pokemon in the back here going to be good against Charm users as well, like the Gardevoir, or against the Fairy type Pokemon in general, which is going to give this team a big advantage in general here as well to deal with a lot of Pokemon that you don't want to face with the Latios. Malamar can be a little bit difficult, but I think you win in the 2-shade scenario with the Latios against Malamar, so this should work out fairly well. And you have of course the best answers for Charm Pokemon in the back there with the Bronzong as well as the Slowking. Final team for today, very fast one of course, as we're going to take a look at here now at the spiciest team for today. What does the Fox say? Because actually Delphox does not look that bad. Like, take a look at this. It's of course like a little bit worse than Victini, but it has like very similar roles to it, and it definitely has a lot of potential. And I feel like that Delphox is kind of one of the steeper picks as well, especially against like Charm users, against the Rapidash as well, against all those Pokemon that you can kind of resist the moves of. So Delphox is actually fairly cool, especially with Mystical Fire as well. So kind of wondering if this is going to be viable, but this is going to be it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to leave a like, watch the video on the screen right now, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.